was the stories or the parables that he would tell. And so I dug through 40 years of stories this morning, Rolando and Olivia, to tell a story tonight that would be the Gonzaleses. You've sat in my living room so much you've probably heard this story, but yet the others deserve to hear it because it's such a picture of what you have been to us these last 12 years. True story from history of a time during World War II called triage. If you're not familiar with the term, triage is when the medical emergencies become so significant in a casualty or in a war that some system of coding needs to be done by the medical team so that the people who have the highest chance of surviving may first be taken out for medical care. And so it was that in the supposed true story, a young man named Lou, in the middle of the Second World War, had his leg so agonizingly blown up that when they took him to the little humble medical tent and triage began, the coding being this, by the way, red tag, put at the end of a bed, a cot that said, there's no hope. So because resources are limited, don't spend time here. A blue tag, meaning there is hope medically that this person will live if aid is given quickly, and a yellow tag, which was to symbolize in this particular triage operation that this person was not severely injured, that there was not a medical emergency, and so they could be left until the end. And so the story of the young guy named Lou was bleeding. The leg had been blown off. And so it was that when the doctors came by, seeing the scads of men and women who were crying out for help, a red tag was put at the end of their bed saying, no hope, no hope, no hope. And basically, that, to all the medical personnel who saw the red tag, which of course Lou had no knowledge of it, meant he would die soon. A young nurse could not bear that he die alone, and so the true story says that she came and sat beside his bed and began to talk to him, and somehow he was so strong that he didn't even fall unconscious. And in passing time, she asked about his family and his dreams. And he began to tell her of things that he wanted to do with his life. And she would glance at her watch as he continued to believe, the tourniquet not fully stopping the bleeding. And finally, she realized that he was simply with such a huge heart that he refused to die. And she did the unspeakable. She quietly, when he closed his eyes, snuck to the medical station in the humble tent and took a blue tag, symbolic of if aid is given quickly, high likelihood of survival. And while his eyes were closed, she exchanged the red tag, his death sentence, for a blue one. The story goes on to tell that he was air-vac'd out. Though he lived with the rest of his leg fully amputated, yet he lived. And that has been you to us, both of you. You've changed our tags. You've heard only a few of the stories tonight of people who said, when you met us, we were very different. And you have loved us, and you have believed in us. You have seen past what other people might have seen as nothing but spiritual death, and the love of Jesus Christ in you and through you. You've not only shown us Jesus, you too, you have changed hundreds, thousands of tags. And there are people all over the world tonight because you have been more than youth pastors. With the love of Jesus Christ You've been tag changers. We thank you. You're heroes to us. I'm going to invite you to come stand right here. You can let your gift rest right about here. Right about here. The four of you on your